I'm trying to think. Maybe like
I appreciate
I've been getting a lot of like baseball clips on my feed. Maybe like one of the trying to hit. I don't know. I don't know baseball at all. So I'm sure one of my colleagues here who knows baseball is gonna make fun of me for that. But something I do know about is drafting in League of Legends, and I'm much happier to be here now than making stupid basketball comparisons. Locke, a champion who's really been rising up in popularity, feels like over in LCK Kesper Cup. When Locke came out, a lot of people were really excited to play that. Didn't really come over to the LPL until the last couple of weeks. And is now really started to pick up popularity. Something else that is kind of similar in that is the Olaf that is beginning blinded. Teams happy with that pick on its own to just play it into basically anything.
Yeah, you got to imagine that the scrims recently have demonstrated that Weibo are comfortable picking up Locke, because last time these two teams played, it was IG that ended up playing that in the first game. Orianna, however, is the easiest slam dunk first pick of your life on this patch. However, Syndra, as an answer to it, historically has been pretty good, and most notably in this patch, flexible.
Yes, big fan that you brought up that. It is flexible, can look great in the bot. I think that it's really hard for a lot of AD carriers, or all AD carriers, in fact, to actually deal with the Syndra's range and the potential to catch them out. That's the thing that the control mages and the bot bring. This ability to force solo kills that are outside of just some poor positioning. Naafiri paired with it, a very aggressive duo. And there's the Olaf blind I was talking about a little bit earlier, paired with the Orianna Jarvan combo that is very common. Good into the Syndra, makes a decent amount of sense into the Naafiri, although she can immune it with W. And Vayne picked up into the Olaf to try to get a bit of an answer into the TheShy.
I'll be real with you, I didn't expect the counter to the TheShy to come in the top lane. Zika's pickup of Vayne here is a gauntlet throw that Weibo, reminder, on thin ice, should not be throwing gauntlets anywhere. However, with this being picked up, the ice is not yet shattered. We'll see whether it can bear the weight of this. Last time these two teams faced up, I'm going to keep saying that because it is our big historic reference here. Xiaohu was also very willing to pilot Anivia, which actually looked pretty good into the Olaf. It was not a game that they won, but Anivia into Olaf, I like a lot more than Vayne into Olaf, even though one does not lane against him. Anivia feels a lot better with the upcoming team fights and the grand scale of what Weibo versus IG will become.
Yeah, not sure if we've been seeing the Vayne counter a ton in the LPL. I know that in the LCK, a lot of top laners have been picking the Vayne into the Olaf, so I imagine the TheShy will be struggling through the early stages at least, but then later on when he can really scale up, should be able to run through the team. I don't mind the Anivia answer. If you can get a wall down there, it is really nice. I love the Jarvan from Wei. Obviously, the Naafiri was already picked, but Jarvan is a good counter into Olaf because you can put him in the cage and then EQ out or flash away, and then he's stuck in there. He literally cannot get out unless he flashes out himself. A lot of bans focused towards the bot side of the map. Camille, Nautilus, the main in the support that have been very prioritized. Karma picked up here for Weibo. Now, with the Karma, this is pretty much guaranteeing to me that the Syndra's going into the mid lane. I think that Syndra Karma doesn't sound like a great bot lane pairing. With Ezreal banned, I mean, could even be something like a Sivir, although that's pretty tough into the Jarvan. IG thinking about the Jhin for a bit of range here, which does make sense. I'm a fan of Jhin with Jarvan. I'm a fan of it with things like Olaf, and it does really help when you've got a Orianna in there too, to match that range. Pretty standard counter to the Karma in this Bard. Looks good into the Syndra as well. And looks like Caitlyn Karma going to be the answer here for Weibo. Now, a lot of range in both of these drafts there. You've got the Syndra, Caitlyn Karma, but Weibo's draft, thinking about the gauntlet thing you were speaking about, there's no tank and there's no engage at all. You've got Tether for Karma, Scout of the Week, and that's it. Condemn into a wall, I guess, but on the IG side, they've got Cataclysm, they've got the Shockwave combo, they've got Bard to Fish, you've got the W from Jhin that can follow up on that. And then you've got this massive frontline threat on the Olaf. I think I'm a bit of a bigger fan of the IG draft here. Weibo's comp is pretty hard to play.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, Weibo have drafted themselves the League of Legends equivalent of a meat grinder or a wood chipper. They want a lot of damage coming at you from all sides, and through that, they're going to disintegrate you. There's not a whole lot of it, like you said, engage on this composition to bring it to you. You're supposed to run into them and get crushed. And that can look really, really good if the Weibo composition gets out significantly ahead. IG is going to look silly because they're going to be running in with an Olaf Jarvan who are going to get exploded. They're going to have no options. You can't touch this composition, and oh my god, the game is unwinnable. The lead does have to be pretty significant for that to occur, though, and that's where Weibo can fall short here. However, Weibo know as well as we do, I hope. I mean, I say they know as well as we do that this is an unlosable game for them. Should they hope to even make the playoffs, the play-ins, this is the composition. This is the meat grinder wood chipper that they have chosen to do it with. Will they be ground, or will IG?
It is a packed house. That is very good to see. A lot of fans showing up for both of these teams. Not something that you typically see with all of the Nirvana teams, but with these very storied rosters, or organizations, I should say, sorry. A lot of fans backed behind them.
It's funny looking at this game. You say storied rosters, storied organizations. Both are true. But on the topic of the rosters, I've barely thought about the fact that JiaQi is in here for IG this game, because the Jhin, the bot lane for both teams, just doesn't really seem like the defining feature. When I'm looking at this game, my big takeaway from draft is that it's basically whether TheShy runs this game or not. Whether the Olaf giga gaps everyone, but bot lane should be the least of everyone's worries. I say that as JiaQi does have a lot of worries.
Yeah, he's struggling. Early gank here from Wei.
Flash forced out of Elk, and really quick, clean investment from IG. There's very little jungle time as Wei gets to move back up towards his top side. Now actually he's going to hit the recall first and then be able to clear that out. Completely uncontested on the other side as Xiaohu started up in top side himself and won't be able to counter jungle anything.
Yep. Jarvan will be able to go up and clear his top side, and outside of the Vayne, I do think that it can be pretty difficult for the Weibo draft to deal with the Olaf. This is one of the reasons why we've been seeing the Olaf priority rise up. It's one of those champions that, while yes, it does have counters, hold on.
I think JiaQi is likely dead. We'll see what Meiko can do about it, though. Xiaohu, not wanting to walk straight through a Bard, is just going to position himself here to try and find the kill, obviously. But in large part, functionally, what Xiaohu does is help Elk and Moham deny a big chunk of the wave that just crashed underneath the tower. JiaQi, despite not dying, has lost a significant amount of golden XP.
Nice attempt there from Weibo. Get the flash out of JiaQi is quite nice. Helps even up the bot lane a little bit, and IG even struggling in this bot lane already. Big chunk onto Meiko will hurt. Caitlyn Karma, pretty prolific bot lane. One of the best, Karma matchups. As TheShy gets ghost out of Zika.
Does he die for it? Zika thinks he kills him, and TheShy
I agree with him.
Does go down. Zika underneath the tower is going to tank the turret shot and flash for first blood, knowing his numbers, knowing he had the damage. That was a clean ghost in the end.
See if Rookie can catch up to Zika here.
Condemn might have bought him enough space. Rookie is fast, though. should be able to clean up Zika with the next round of cooldowns, and he does. 1-for-1 overall, but still a big win for Weibo, finding the solo kill in the side lane, claiming first blood for themselves on a Vayne counter pick. Looks really good.
That was a bit of a strange look from TheShy. He's in like a completely fine position, walks up very aggressively, gets ghost out of Zika, and I didn't even notice that TheShy had Ignite because I just kind of expect it to be the ghost, and then he can't run away because he has no match for the ghost. Zika able to trade flashes and get the solo kill. Looking pretty good, like you said, in the counter matchup. Good from Rookie to even up the score a little bit. Uses his flash. A lot of flash trading in this early game, I'll say. But pushing bot lane for Weibo. Looking pretty good so far. Zika in the counter matchup also looking pretty good so far. So Weibo off to a pretty decent start, albeit a slow one.
And I can make my peace with that. This game doesn't have to be super fast for Weibo. What it does have to be is one-sided. This small lead that they were able to accrue with the first blood pickup in the top lane, that's good. It's the first part of great. They at least share the same first letter, but Weibo need to make this a completely one-sided game should they wish to win it, because they cannot afford to be falling behind in small ways. They can't afford for this to be an even game where Olaf and Jarvan can sit in your carries' faces and make your life difficult. As such, despite Weibo having initial priority over this river, IG have been able to take it. Weibo do seem hesitant to fight, but Moham really wants to get in there, finds the route onto JiaQi, and Xiaohu is all over him. The first pick for Weibo could do them a lot of good. Xiaohu's going to pick up the kill, and the Dragon, it looks like, will go to IG, trading away their AD carry's life for a Drake. Both teams hesitant to risk too much.
We'll be fine here. Just use the flag and dragons to get out. That looked a bit funny. Wei didn't even look like he kind of cared as his ADC gets dove on top of. Doesn't even turn around, just like, yeah, I'm here for the dragon. I'm not even looking. So it will be the ADC for Dragon trade. Weibo continuing to increase their gold in this early game. Caitlyn going for, I assume it's going to be Collector, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Not a huge fan of this item in general. In fact, I think both AD carriers are going it. I guess, at least for JiaQi, a little squishy, but I'm not a huge fan of Collector against something like an Olaf. I don't think it does enough damage, but either way, gold leads for Weibo, sitting about 1,000 gold, a little bit under now, and TheShy doing a pretty good job of evening this lane back up despite that early solo kill. He's lessened the gold. He's also up XP as well, managing to freeze out Zika on some of these waves, I guess. Without flashing Ghost, the Vayne has to play incredibly safe. Also a bit scared of the Jarvan ganks, I would imagine as well. Wei's now level 6, and Vayne doesn't really have a great time into Jarvan, especially with no flash.
Rookie getting stunned underneath the tower. Flash over the wall from Xiaohu. Should be able to pick up the kill here, and he does. Meiko over the wall with the magical journey. Xiaohu follows him, though, maybe a bit too close to the sun. Has Moham behind him. But the kill going to Weibo Gaming will be, at the end of the day, unanswered by IG.
A lot of members from Weibo rotated in for that play. Meiko's going to get rooted here. Should be able to walk away as JiaQi and TheShy come over as well. Nice shockwave from Rookie, gets the flash at Xiaohu, but Rookie having no flash himself means that he can't get away from the Neferia that goes over the wall, takes him down. Mid lane gold now evened up. TheShy will pull the grub so the Xiaohu can't do them immediately. With flashes down on Weibo, maybe need to be a little bit careful. Xiaohu very susceptible to getting altered by the Jarvan, but grub should still go over pretty easily.
The top lane balance has been really interesting to watch. Like you mentioned, TheShy being able to reclaim a lot of momentum once he hit the level 6 breakpoint, which is the famous I press this button and I kill your AD carry button. Very scary when you have an AD carry up in the top lane. But Zika, I think with a really nice bait there, is very aware. He's been playing really respectfully around TheShy, which on one hand is nice, because he's not dying, on the other hand, is concerning because he picked a counter matchup and is falling behind.
Well, he's just like, yeah, Meiko, you got that one. Just spend 30 seconds on vision soloing the grub. All right, I guess it works. One grub to IG. It's like double control ward was right there. If Xiaohu at any time had just come back, he probably just gets the grub to himself. Maybe even could find a sizable chunk out of Meiko, get the heal maybe. Wei's hovering in the mid lane. Like I mentioned before, Xiaohu, no flash. Very easy as a target for this Cataclysm.
Well, there it goes. And with the Shockwave on top of it, and a Bard visiting here as well. That was the easiest, and it really is, in this matchup, accurate slam dunk that you could ask for on IG. They get to set that up every single time. It's the very scary thing about going up against Jarvan Orianna, especially as a Syndra who did have to be ultimately pivoted into the mid lane. Wei, unfortunately, does have to back off. Didn't quite have the presence to walk into the river from the rest of his lanes right now, and that's okay. Losing the Scuttle Crab, especially in trade for a little bit of extra gold on your mid laner. Rookie not quite getting the plate, but it's all good.
Doesn't feel too bad. Nice stun here.
I mean, even is good for IG. If you are IG, even is good. If you are Weibo, even is a very bad place to be. Even 10 minutes into the game, it's not great. Starting off with the first blood, Weibo need to make this a one-sided game, and right now, it is very cleanly two-sided. Very simple for it to go either way. IG gonna bide their time until an objective that they are strong around, and the very fact that they ended up picking up first dragon is great for IG. It extends the game, even if Weibo, around 20-30 minutes, end up with a couple of dragons under their belt, maybe close to Soul or with Soul, and on the verge of Elder. The additional time that getting first dragon has bought IG is going to let their frontline scale up, going to let their frontline be even scarier when it comes to running down Zika, Xiaohu, or Elk.
I think that for Weibo, waiting on their first item spikes here, I think that's really where this comp starts to look scary in the mid game. I do think that there is a conversation about, as the game gets later and later, Weibo don't look too bad. You know, Caitlyn with full items looks great. Syndra can too, Nefiri and Vayne. I just think that the later the game goes, not having engage is really the problem for them. But on first items, they're incredibly strong. Looking for the second dragon now. Meiko stunned out by Xiaohu. Has to be pushed out with the ace in the hole as well. And with that happening, unless Wei can find a steal, most likely Weibo's dragon, and it will be. Wei just hovering in the area. Rookie never even rotated in. So maybe a steal potential, but most likely just Wei watching, making sure the dragon's going down. So now evening up the Drake score. Weibo continuing their lead forward, sitting on around about still 1k. When these items come through, when these first items come through, I expect Weibo to start pressing the advantage a little more.
Zika knows how dangerous this top lane matchup can be. Eating the axe from TheShy, it's very clear that he's experienced in it. Unfortunately, it is still a not very comfortable place for a Vayne or any ADC to be. With Xiaohu hovering up top side, maybe this gets a little bit easier. Maybe even we could see them punish a little bit of over-aggression from TheShy, who has been playing things quite responsibly himself, actually backing likely for first item right now.
Yeah, I was talking about it a little bit before. The Olaf pick is, this is a really nice sweep out from Meiko, but Wei Rookie both hovering. I don't think Weibo know this is happening. Topside is where Xiaohu is. Xiaohu.
He's got no shockwave for this, but I suppose that simply to kill Elk, it won't matter. Meiko is going to go 1-for-1 here. Well, up in the top side, there was a attempt on TheShy's life. Xiaohu wanting to continue that is just going to pick up the Krug for his trouble.
Yeah, TheShy uses flash and ult and lives, and he's spamming an emote, I believe. Or at least the voice line is playing over and over again. Very worth dive. JiaQi gets the kill onto Elk, and Meiko dies, but Moham gets the kill. Credit for that. Even though Elk still has the gold lead, it's pretty good. As we'll take a look back here to see what happened. Looks like TheShy just gets a little greedy. Nice bait there from Zika. flash and ult use. I don't even know if you... I guess Vayne ult is pretty scary. Probably did have to use both of them. So you've got Rookie with this 400 gold lead, Zika with the 400 gold lead on the other side. Just use the big teleport as well, so that'll be down for quite a while. TheShy already used his as well. But yeah, this Olaf is a pick that... It's one of those champions that has counters that are good into it. But maybe those champions aren't meta, or not super popular at least right now in the game, and champions like Olaf that you would think can't really be blinded are getting blind picked. And in this draft, I seriously think that outside of Vayne later on, it is really hard for Weibo to deal with this Olaf. If Caitlyn dies in a fight, very tough for Weibo to continue going forwards. As this comp is pretty glass cannon-y, losing any of the glass can mean that the rest of the window shatters.
So many of the ways to deal with TheShy removed in this draft. And even Zika, who was drafted to deal with him, in trouble right now, gets ignited, but TheShy decides he does not win this anymore, backs off on a knife's edge in this top lane. And in the jungle, not so much. Elk is going to get CC'd, wombo comboed to death. And that is the second time that we see Wei Cataclysm, a soon-to-die AD carry. And I swear to you, Jbetto, it will not be the last. Up in the top lane, Weibo do try and pull off a gank on TheShy. That gets Uno reverse carded immediately, and another Uno reverse comes out from Xiaohu, picking up a kill, but ultimately still dying to TheShy. We go 1 for 2 in the grand scheme of things. Favor to IG. Xiaohu did make it look kind of stylish.
He did. Tried his best, and now Zika, the only member with a important gold lead on Weibo, who... Despite the amount of damage that Weibo have, and now they've completed their first items, I do think they are in a good position. The comp from IG just feels like it outweighs the damage that Weibo has. Syndra, Caitlyn, not super great into the Jarvan, and the Jarvan-Orianna combo is so scary. We'll take a look back here. So this is when the Orianna J4 combo has already been used. Really nice stun off of the dog. Xiaohu gets the first, goes over the wall, is back alive.
Is TheShy going to die underneath the tower? Zika's got Karma to back him up, and it's nice to have Karma with a diversity of AD carries to invest in. Meiko, left on his own as well, is going to fall here, and that is 2 quick picks to Weibo Gaming. 16 minutes into the game. That is an advantage secured for them. It is a small advantage, and one that very quickly could evaporate if Elk does go down here, and he does, with the mid lane tower soon to follow. IG equalize this right quick and get themselves a much larger long-term advantage in the mid lane tower.
Yeah, the individual plays from Weibo on the bot side look good, but IG play together really well. This is the third dragon. It's Infernal Soul, which, I mean, if there wasn't enough damage already, TheShy's respawned, he's coming back. IG with priority over the dragon, and I feel like with this, even though the shockwave is down, the Cataclysm alone is scary enough to force out Weibo. And like I was talking about before, when there's no Caitlyn, you lose parts of this like full damage comp. It's really hard to continue playing. Shy just straight back to clearing.
Moham and Zika trying to clear TheShy. Might be able to. Meiko in a similar situation. It looks like a replay timing-wise, but this is a different angle at taking out the top lane and support. Weibo, they've got a clear game plan. They know they want to attack the bot side. They know they want to invest in Zika, because why else would you be bringing everyone down here? The question is whether it's going to be enough, and I don't really have the answer to that, Jbetto.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The Vayne is really strong right now. You can see just fully solo kills TheShy down here, and then nice flash over the wall from Xiaohu. Moham ends up getting the kill, uses his flash as well. But this is scary because as JiaQi, looking for Elk, gets another flash. So we've got 3 immobile champions flashes down against Jarvan Orianna. These will not be back up, or at least the Caitlyn one won't be before the next dragon. The other 2 might. They're before the dragon. So Caitlyn, no flash, no ghost, is a massive target for this combo. Massive target for the Olaf as well, who despite being down a bunch of gold, it's a lot harder for Vayne to find value in a draft like this up against the, like, as opposed to the Olaf, I should say, where Zika is going to struggle to find times where he can do what he's doing against TheShy against anybody else in a team fight without just dying. Whereas TheShy will be able to stride break or ult, maybe flash in as well against one of these immobile carries. The CC won't matter at all, and I sincerely believe that they do not have enough damage in the team fight to get through this Olaf.
Weibo have got to play like water. They've got to absorb the engages from IG and critically have the flashes to play around them, because, well, you may be able to walk away from the Shy, well, you may be able to use a couple dashes, dodge the slow, and be okay with the additional speed from Karma. You can't walk out of a Cataclysm. And the combination of Wei and Rookie here is a really big threat to Weibo Gaming's chances of winning a team fight, winning this game, when otherwise your whole win condition revolves around not getting touched, staying the perfect distance away from IG.
Nice heads up play there from Moham with the ward. Looks pretty good. Gets the live through. Cruxing into some second item spikes here for both teams. Elk on his 2-item spike, JiaQi the same. Going a bit of a different build with the Hubris and the Phantom Dancer. Bit of an interesting look. And Weibo, while they want to put down some pressure onto the mid lane turret, look at how far back Elk has to play with no flash, no ghost. He's really scared here. And he should be, very rightfully so. Minute and a half on this next dragon, and Moham has his flash back up. Xiaohu will have his, but Elk will not have either summoner spell, and that is a prime target for the entire comp that IG have.
If we get to a team fight and Elk doesn't get Cataclysm, Shockwave, and insta-die, IG have missed a big opportunity. As it is right now, taking advantage of everything they can, even taking away the jungle of Weibo Gaming. As Wei sneaks away most of those Krugs. The Shy and Zika in the side lane, still a side lane that it looks like Zika is winning handily.
Bit of Krog action here between both our top laners. That's the real important thing here. You need to fight over the Krugs. There's no CS that matters, no solo kill. It's who gets the Krugs, and neither of them do. So is that a double? They both lose? I don't know. Maybe that's how that works.
Those Krugs
30
are
seconds out from
game.
this Drake. They are pretty important. Doran will tell you so. IG approaching from the top side. The Shy trying to look to join. Zika separated from his team. A large portion of his team's damage. This will be Infernal Soul point if IG can get it, and Weibo with no real front line are going to struggle to try to retake this river.
Not to call the fight, but to set expectations for it. This dragon's going to IG. Weibo need to be absorbing IG. They can't really do it the other way around. IG are not going to suddenly allow Weibo to walk into the river and get priority. I say, as Xiaohu and Moham have made it, Elk and Zika are approaching from the bot side. See what happens to Zika, as that was a critical vision toggle to not show us the Shy. Sitting in this bush waiting for a Vayne to walk into it. We're 50-50ing the smites. IG get away with this. Soul point goes to them. They're going to try and find Zika on the back end of it. The Shy all over him right now, but can't do this alone. The rest of IG having to back away right now. Tempered Fate does stall out Moham and Xiaohu as Xiaohu comes over the wall, tries to finish off the kill. Wei answers back with the Cataclysm, locking Zika in and finishing him off with Rookie now looking for the finish on a couple of slowed targets, courtesy of JiaQi. Weibo lose one, and they lose the dragon. It is, in a small way, a big win for IG.
Yeah, IG with a really nice smite from Wei on the dragon. Feels like Weibo losing grip over this game. As we get a look back at the smite. The 50-50 between these two junglers goes the way of Wei. And Zika here on the ward the whole time. IG know where they're going for. I love this kind of in and out. It's not super full all in. They're baiting a little bit, trying to bring Zika in a little more. The Tempered Fate buys enough time, and you can see that Weibo don't really know where all of IG is. Eventually, the pause will happen. No, the Deadly Flourish will hit Zika, the Cataclysm.
Play-ins. And I am desperately hoping that the realities that we're talking about how hard it is to deal with the IG composition, how impossible it seems for Weibo, I hope those realities are evading them, because we are still 24 minutes into this game. I've watched a lot of League of Legends in my life. It's throwable. No matter what it is, it's throwable. And right now, it's not even that huge of a gold lead. It is not that defined of a game, though it may feel that way to viewers at home. We are a couple of IG mistakes away from Weibo still managing to pull this off.
Yeah, it's going to start with Weibo trying to have a fight around Zika. I really feel as though this Vayne has found an advantage, but hasn't really impacted the team fights at all, or any of these skirmishes. I don't want to call the last fight even a team fight, because it was mostly just IG kind of dancing around IG. Zika was there, sure, ends up dying. If Zika or Elk or Xiaohu can pick up any of these big shutdowns that are building up, it'll be 600 or 700 gold from those shutdowns alone. If you can get all 3 of them, that's a big gold swing. You'd be in the lead there. Sure, you don't have the dragon lead, but at least there's something. I think the Karma's going to do well scaling into this game. Wei's caught.
Moham flashing on him as well. This is going to seal the deal, as Wei does end up getting sent golden by Meiko, but still ultimately will fall. Xiaohu follows Meiko through the magical journey and encounters Rookie on his way out, but Weibo lose their support in trade, and with Zika showing up, maybe it's the perfect time to manifest this gold lead. Never mind, he steps on a trap. That guy's got to run for his life. Shockwave almost connects onto Xiaohu, but he manages to dodge it. JiaQi wants to finish off Zika, but with the flash still saved on the Jin.
Whew.
IG are going to wait this one out, play patient. They don't have to win any big fights right now. They already got the 1-for-1. They've still got an advantage, and this is a crazy level of restraint we see from IG. Not letting Weibo absorb them, not letting their excitement get the better of them.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 for Weibo, which should be positive in this stage of the game, because the shutdown goes over. It's jungle for support. I believe it was Xiaohu who got the shutdown. Didn't see exactly how big it was, but it should be something like 800 gold-ish. Let's see. It was pretty crowded. About 800. Which is great. But the problem is that you're losing tools, right? The fight, even from here, doesn't look great. Zika can't enter in this fight, really. Again, he's not able to participate, walks over a trap here, nearly dies, and then Elk uses his flash at the end of the fight because he's caught by the Shy's engage. Again, against the Cataclysm, this is really bad news for Elk to play the next fight in 40 seconds. Cataclysm Shockwave is up. The Shy's ult is up. Tempered Fate is up, and Elk has no tools to survive.
Once again, Zika's got to play the hero. He's going to be the one with flash available. And we've sort of got a real AD carry, fake AD carry situation evolving here. Elk's got to be the bait so that Zika can really pop off. Moham's got one job, and it is not to keep his lane partner alive. With IG in the river first, Dragon spawning in 12 seconds. This is another big turning point in the game where IG can grab the wheel and shift it even more sharply in their favor. Zika goes for the auto on the turret, perhaps a little greedy, but he gets saved by his mid laner. Xiaohu making sure that there's no connection here. Xiaohu commits onto Rookie. Wei ends up using the Cataclysm on Zika, who flashes up the wall to finish him off. Zika, the hero, who needs to be there for IG, gets the shield and actually pops off with a double kill before getting shut down by JiaQi. Is this enough? Is JiaQi now the god? As he flashes forward with the fourth shot on Elk, picks it up with the reload, a triple kill to JiaQi, and he opens up with the curtain call for a clean quadra. JiaQi will not finish the penta yet. Might not at all, but he certainly finished off Weibo Gaming.
What an explosive fight from IG. You see Weibo hovering the top side, trying to threaten maybe a Baron take. So IG want to pull off the dragon. The scout of the week here on the initial engage with the shockwave is great. So Wei's got the ball on him, doesn't work out, but Xiaohu feels the need to send it onto Rookie. This is the start of the engage. Zika forced to use flash. It doesn't even matter that Wei dies. This Vayne just can't do enough. And look at TheShy in the backline. They can't get through him in time to assist the rest of the fight before JiaQi and Rookie just decimate everybody. It looks a bit awkward for JiaQi, but he does so much damage in this fight. If this order had killed, it would have been a pentakill for the slot-in AD carry here. Unreal performance from IG in this game, and Weibo's hopes, they hang by a thread.
It's a super clean team fight out of JiaQi, and you can tell he knows this is his moment. In the game, in the series, there's never been a Jhin that is more set up for success than in these fights, because it's impossible for Weibo to really focus him. We talked about this a little bit earlier on. I thought it was barely going to even matter with the way that the IG composition was going. But as soon as Zika starts appearing as a hero, as a way back for Weibo Gaming, suddenly you get an AD carry who's able to pop up on the other side. Weibo need to make their way into the Baron pit right now, and an ult onto Rookie, sure. That's one way to do it. Unfortunately, they get very quickly pushed right back out of the rivers. TheShy gives up his life to buy space for the team. IG could lose the fight after this, but instead the shockwave and the drag over the wall is going to work in their favor. JiaQi with the fourth shot is going to be able to defend himself against Xiaohu and walk on over, almost collecting the kill onto Elk, who spots him out with the Piltover Peacemaker. It's a triple for Elk, and Wei, the last surviving member of IG. It is bloody, but it is a fight won by Invictus, 31 minutes in.
Not the best fight for IG. TheShy, I liked how he zoned last fight. Not the biggest fan of this one. It felt way too early. He goes into like the three strongest members of the team. And yes, they get the Baron. But Weibo encircling. Zika nearly kills JiaQi here on this Jhin. It's barely one auto in it. It's another trading fight, which in this case definitely suits Weibo, as you're taking off the GA from Wei, getting out all the Barons. Look at the amount of damage that Caitlyn was able to do in that fight. And while I think that Olaf running into Syndra Caitlyn as he did the fight before, that is good, and they don't really have enough tools to deal with him fast enough, they will kill him. I don't think he's 1v2ing them with this build currently. He definitely can't run into Vayne Syndra Caitlyn and do anything. The Vayne will just eat him alive, and that's exactly what happened in that fight. There's still one Baron available here for Wei, so maybe can try to get this tier 2 tower, but nothing more than that. It's most likely going to come down to an Elder fight in 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's the terrifying thing, is that if this Baron doesn't break the game wide open, Elder certainly will. And that's terrifying in two ways. One, who wants to fight an Elder? Second, it's not a done deal who ends up getting this Elder. Weibo are losing this game by a pretty wide margin, but there's always the chance that they are able to manufacture a fight win. IG, make sure that that moment is not now. Sending out a lot of ults to pick off Moham ultimately, but means that Weibo can't really stand in defense of this tower either.
This Jarvan was picked early on in the draft, and it's doing so much work into the immobile carries that Weibo have picked into it. They've backed themselves into this corner, and the corner is very small. Yeah, their plans' hopes are fading with this push.
IG are going for the end. Zika's waiting on the side. He's got flashback up and again needs to make a hero play. The rest of IG turn on him immediately, but Cataclysm gets used onto Xiaohu. Zika again unleashed. Goes for Meiko. Can't finish him off though. Tries to condemn JiaQi into the wall, but the stun doesn't connect and he's got to back away. JiaQi with a fourth shot in the chamber could 100-0 Zika right now, and it'll be TheShy, sacrificial lamb, left back in the Weibo base to be finished off. Dying at a decent time. He'll be up in about a minute. The Dragon up in a minute 30 gives us the chance to do all this again.
Yeah, that fight might feel like a mistake from IG, and sure, it's maybe a little bit of gold from TheShy given over, but you break open the base. The most important part is You get flashes out of Weibo again. Look at what the Olaf does to Caitlyn. He just doesn't have enough damage to kill. He is down 2 items on Caitlyn, and he still solo kills him that easily. They do not have the tools to get through this Olaf in a 1v1 like that. TheShy now has Randuin's as well. Very scary position. Vayne, Caitlyn, Nefiri, no flashes. Elder in 50 seconds. Everyone's going to be alive. Wei has the Cataclysm. Meiko has the Tempered Fate. I feel as though there's no way Weibo can even think about having a fight, but it's Elder. You have to fight.
Yeah, they shouldn't be able to think about it, but they don't have a choice, and I don't love that position for anyone in League of Legends. IG gonna walk things down while they've got a little bit of time, 30 seconds until this dragon, and as you mentioned, Zika not having a flash, to me, is the most tragic thing about this fight. Weibo have to take it, but their win condition of a Vayne pop-off seems so much further away, especially now. That is so much aggression sent out by IG, and the force shot deletes Moham. IG, they might not need an Elder Dragon. They got JiaQi.
Yep. No flash on the Vayne taken down. And now Moham falls. That'll be the second inhibitor as well. No Baron. Might not be a problem. It's a 5 versus 3, and Weibo don't have enough tools to even think about this fight.
That's an ult from TheShy, and a very quick cleanup for the rest of IG. Even shockwaving Elk back in. That is the first game going to IG, but it is the last game that Weibo had to put themselves in the playoffs, and they will miss out on the opportunity for it. That was a brutal ending by IG, but on a positive note, looked very good for them as a team that we know is going to be going to the play-ins.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see these names back in against some of these Group Ascend teams. I hope to see IG looking good and playing well. And to be honest, Weibo, a team that has not been looking super good in Group Nirvana. IG much better in this first game. I really was not a huge fan of the draft of Weibo's. I think they really lacked engage. It made the fight super hard for them to play, and even though Zika tried his best, and he probably has a really high damage number comparable to the rest of his team, and even maybe to IG as well, it's not enough. You can't win the game on Vayne by yourself like that against a comp that was significantly better. Giving over Orianna first pick, already a mistake. And then the Jarvan goes over, and then picking a comp that is not good into Jarvan, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, and I think the Bard made it even worse. JiaQi doing so much damage in this game. See, Zika did comparable damage. He did quite a lot, but not enough.
Yeah, I mean, and Elk not having a bad game either. These are 280 carries across the map that, on paper, did fine, but compositionally got screwed. You've got two great players running into a Jarvan Olaf who need to be half as mechanical as you to have even more impact. Zika really popped off in a couple of fights. I mean, this is clearly a top laner that can handle the weight of the game, but the rest of Weibo weren't able to step up, and it's hard to blame them for that as well. It was an impossible situation for the Weibo roster, even when Zika, not in this fight, was able to perform very well, expending Flash, expending the Ghost, trying to make a team fight work for them and nearly doing it. He's not a one-man army, and a Vayne never is. That is a lesson that you learned very early on in League of Legends.
Yeah, tough comp to play against as well. Makes it even harder. That's the fight that really felt like, oh man, this is very difficult for Weibo to win the game. And this is another one where even despite the 1-for-1 and a big shutdown going over, it didn't feel great. These fights pulling flashes out. I think IG showed a level of aggression that was exciting and impactful to the game, but also showed a level of patience that meant pulling flashes instead of getting these big fights and losing the game. And with a Jarvan comp, with a Bard in the game too, don't look at that Meiko ult, not the best. But with a Jarvan comp and so much range with the Jhin and the Orianna and so much damage, having that flash available is so important. They were great at taking this down. This is the missed opportunity for JiaQi's pentakill, making an argument for him starting on this roster, looking really good while doing it. And I think making an argument for an MVP vote too. I think that while Wei looked super good and you can definitely have an argument for him, I think that JiaQi looked super good on this Jhin.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you where looking at this game, I'm feeling the JiaQi MVP because he looked so clean on Jhin, and he didn't really have to. Like, when you look at this composition, Jarvan is going to be valuable. Olaf is going to be valuable. Even Orianna is going to be valuable, who I do think is your other option for MVP if you want. I think, Rookie did play this very well. But these are all picks that are going to get value. Jhin is the one where you're like, all right, and we can also just pick Jhin. And he can be okay. Or, in this game, as we saw, he can be a huge factor in you winning the game. I want everybody to appreciate the damage onto Moham with this shot. Look at that. Look at that. That seem balanced to you?
Yes. Jhin is such a fun balanced champion. I like Jhin. I think he's good. We're kind of, pivoting away from the majors and finding some AD carriers that are in a great position in the meta. Jhin, one of those, has a ton of range, can clear the wave really easily, and you can see how much... If anyone ever tells you Jhin doesn't do damage, they're wrong. He does so much damage. We can see he needs the right build, which is not, the Ghost Blade first. No, we need crit. We need AD, a lot of it. It's the hubris start in this game, and the late game for Jhin is devastating in terms of damage. He has the most AD physically possible in the game, and it will be the JiaQi player of the game. 12-2 in our first game here. Looking pretty good on this Jhin.
That guy was Thanos snapping people. We didn't get a replay of the fight, but there is a fight that happens in the Weibo base where Zika is running at them and he realizes, I'm actually at 60% HP, and there is a fourth shot on the other side of this.
Yeah, that fourth shot just erases me.
Yeah, he's got to walk this out. It is a clean sweep as well. Everybody on the same page about how valuable JiaQi was in this game, and as we say, he didn't need to be. JiaQi could have chilled. He could have performed his base function as a Jhin, and IG still would have won this game convincingly. The fact that he is able to operate on this higher level makes the game look all the more oppressive for Weibo Gaming. And I'm not going to lie to you, Jbetto. I love esports. I love the LPL. And I love high-tension games like this. There is a bit of me that is hurting right now, knowing what Weibo are going through in between these games. That was it. And they've still got another game to play. As to what Weibo shows up in the next game, I cannot tell you. It is going to really come down to these players, how they want to end their season. They do still have another series left to play, another series that cannot in any way qualify them to the playoffs. And so, I don't know what we're looking at for Weibo Gaming. And by the same token, we're looking at an IG that have got a victory